A quick heads up to Vodafone UK for sending me out this Samsung Galaxy S8 Plus to review. Big props to them. Just let you know you can pick up this device on vodafone.co.uk. Now, I'll go on the record and admit it. I am an Apple fanboy, and I own everything Apple, and I have everything Apple. So when I decided to review the Samsung Galaxy S8 Plus, I was slightly skeptical, but I knew I had to go into the review with an open mind, and in all fairness, I was pleasantly surprised. First of all, let's address the elephant in the room, that screen. Apple, with its current flagship, the iPhone 8, has nothing on the S8. The S8 Plus that I have boasts a 6.2-inch AMOLED display which simply looks gorgeous. The Infinity display design allows a larger display in a smaller form factor. This can be clearly seen when comparing the iPhone 8, which has a similar form factor, but only has a 5.5-inch display. However, not all of this is ideal. Samsung is notorious for its slightly oversaturated display, which in comparison to the iPhone 8 and other flagships these days, I believe is slightly less true to life. This can be seen within the display of the S8 and S8 Plus. There is an option to turn this oversaturation off, but in my opinion, the colours then look flat and a bit meh. So I decided to leave on the adaptive display mode, which seemed to produce the brightest and most colourful colours. However, if you're doing content creation on your S8, whether that's taking photos or taking videos, I strongly recommend to turn this feature off. Otherwise, the footage that you have on your phone may look different to that on other people's devices. The overall design of the phone has a really premium feel to it. Looking back at the screen, the Infinity display melts the edges over the side of the phone, which is a much softer and, in my opinion, much better way to do it than that of the S7 Edge. 2017 is the year of taller phones, with the widths getting smaller, and this can be seen in the S8 and S8 Plus. Although boasting huge displays, the reachability and functionality of them are awesome due to the narrower width. Now, while we're on the topic of design, let's talk about that fingerprint sensor. Now, while using the phone for nearly 3 weeks in a row as my daily flagship, I pulled up a few points. When the fingerprint sensor worked and sensed my finger, it worked well and it worked fast. But otherwise, not so much. The placement is simply horrible. Furthermore, being right next to the camera, I'd often find myself losing it with my phone, thinking it wasn't working when in fact I was covering the camera rather than the fingerprint sensor. One thing that I found is that my slick wrap skin, which you can buy at the link in the video description, definitely helps locate the fingerprint sensor. Now, I'm not just saying this as a shameless plug, it genuinely does. The added texture and added thickness of the skin actually enables you to find the fingerprint sensor, especially when you're not looking at the back of the device. Now, onto software, which I found to be another mixed bin. Samsung TouchWiz is great. It makes the large screen look even larger, taking advantage of every corner and edge. You can swipe down to access your apps as well as swiping up, which I feel is a bit of a wasted gesture. I like the idea of swiping down to access your apps, but swiping up I'd like to see to be able to be used as a customizable feature, whether that's open a certain app or toggle a certain feature like the flashlight. Small things like being able to actually customize your home screen with things like widgets and being able to customize the grid layout are, in my opinion, a necessity on any smartphone. Who would have thought being able to actually customize your home screen the way you like it? Also, being able to double click the power button to launch the camera is also an awesome feature. Applications on the Samsung Galaxy S8 and S8 Plus work really well. Android phones come with a bit of a stigma. There's so many different devices that run Android, there's so many different designs, and trying to accommodate for all those is pretty difficult. This is seen on the S8 and S8 Plus. 6 months on, there are still some apps that do not in fact support the aspect ratio of the display. Even popular games like Real Racing 3 are in fact difficult to play, as you have to rotate the screen depending on which side you wish to access. Now, most videos aren't shot in this aspect ratio either, which means that while consuming content on apps like YouTube, you've got the choice of leaving it with black bars on either side or clicking the crop to fit feature, which I use pretty much every single time. However, you've got to start evaluating perks and disadvantages when it comes to things like this. Cropping to fit is awesome, it takes up the whole display, however you do lose some of the content as you are in fact cropping it. something that I think may pose an issue on the up and coming iPhone 10 or X or whatever you want to call it, but I'll come with a review with that straight away. The good trend of the phone carries on to the rear camera, boasting a 12 megapixel sensor with a 1.7 aperture, dual pixel focus and optical image stabilization. It really does compete with any other flagship device on the market. You can see here with these close-up shots, it nails the focus, and that large aperture really does allow a deep depth of field. It also resembles the colours pretty well, but there is slight oversaturation, but that is seen throughout the other features of the device. The 4K video mode also handles varying levels of light pretty well too. You can see in this video that you can see everything in both the light and the dark areas of the frame, something that even high-end video cameras struggle to achieve. For me, this all changes when it comes to the front camera. I really dislike it. And I feel like this trend continues throughout most Android phones. They have a huge tendency to oversaturate, overprocess and oversharpen images. I don't feel like they look true to life at all. I feel like this is also extremely poorly shown in Snapchat as well. I feel like other third-party apps included with this, and you got to remember, Snapchat is one of the most popular social media platforms these days anyways, and you'd expect most Android phones to kind of direct their camera towards things like that, but they often look out of focus and very blurry. For me, this is a real shame. The rear camera is one of the best I've ever used, but I feel like all credibility to that has been stripped away. I mean, nowadays most people use their front-facing camera more than their rear-facing camera. Now, it may be me being slightly picky because I'm unexperienced with Android devices, so this is where I need your guys' help with this. If you could comment down below if you've had any experience with an S8 camera, for example, or any other Android device, and let me know what your experience with the front camera is, how it works in low light, good light, on third-party apps like Snapchat. Now, overall, from an Apple's fanboy's perspective, I do actually love this phone, and I will actually miss it when I switch back to the iPhone as my daily driver. The fact that it still has wireless charging, it still has fast charging, and it still has a headphone jack are all contributors to everything I've mentioned previously. Now, things to take away from this review is that in my opinion the S8 is one of the best Android devices on the market. I look forward to getting my hands on the Pixel 2, the Pixel 2 XL, as well as the Note 8 to get a true comparison of the 3 or 4 devices. So, the all-important question, would I recommend it? Yes, I would. I love the phone, I love the device. Yeah, there are some things that do kind of put it lower down for me. However, there's many of these for any other device that you look at. So it's all about weighing up the positives and the negatives. But like I said, I would recommend this phone for anybody wanting an Android device. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to leave a like rating down below. And please remember to comment what you guys would actually like me to review next. I've got quite a wide ideas of what I'd like to do. So if you guys want to suggest anything, please let me know whether you want to tweet at me at Callum or comment down below, and I'll try and get that done for you guys.